30 male, caught my wife, 29 female of 7 years, messaging her ex-boyfriend things that no husband wants to read. She begged me not to leave her, and I haven't. But I can't stop asking, what if they were never caught? It's killing me inside. Please help. When my wife and I made the choice to leave Mormonism some years ago, we began to have challenges. We were both extremely devout. In spite of the fact that we had remained together, our marriage was in peril since my beliefs and perceptions on some issues had begun to shift radically, eventually altering me entirely and utterly. Because I began to have reservations about my plans to marry and have children at such a young age, I grew angered and resentful of my parents' actions. During this time period, I am completely open and honest about my shortcomings as a father and spouse. When our relationship came to an end as a result of this, something extraordinary occurred while she was away living with her Mormon parents. She looked into what I had discovered and discovered that Mormonism was a hoax, as well as what I had discovered. She ultimately returned home, but the situation did not much improve. Despite the fact that I was still a long way away, I had become more interested with the presentation of religion and God in general. This continued for more than a year. We had a significant disagreement in November of 2013, and I ended up spending the rest of the month on the sofa as a consequence of the incident. My insomnia kept me up all night, so I borrowed her iPad for the night. She and her ex-boyfriend were having a series of Facebook talks, which I discovered, despite the fact that she has always had nothing but great things to say about him. Her parents would not have approved of him since he was not a member of the Mormon faith. That was the only reason they didn't get married right away when they first started dating. The two of them had been corresponding on and off for about 8 months, but nothing significant had transpired during that period. While their most recent email was a little shorter in length, the substance of it was a little more meaningful. In her letter, she expressed her sadness at not being able to marry him due to their religious differences, as well as her belief in how lovely their future together would have been had they been allowed to do so. She also said that she had fleeting ideas of the two of them reuniting at some point. At the conclusion of the conversation, she admitted that she still had emotions for him. He reacted by indicating that he agreed with her points of view. Reading this and realizing where it was coming from served as a much-needed wake-up call for me, and I'm grateful for that. Suddenly, the realization dawned on me that I was removing myself from what was maybe the most essential thing in the world. As soon as I questioned her about it, she got really furious, but after a lengthy conversation and many tears, we were able to get through the night without more incident. The next month was without a doubt one of the most pleasant we'd ever experienced. Everything looked to have significantly improved, from our life to the way we interacted with one another. In addition, I urged that she please refrain from communicating with her ex-boyfriend, which she seemed to agree. I woke up to the sound of my phone beeping approximately a month after we had rekindled our connection with each other. It was a note from my ex-wife, which I received. Boyfriends, the woman stated that when she returned home, she saw her husband staring at his phone, looking guilty. She eventually extracted all she could from him and delivered it to me. After putting everything together, their chats that day and night went something like this: he calls her over Facebook in the middle of the day to inform her that he has to communicate something important to her about her. The woman responds and tells him that she, too, would want to communicate, but that she is unable to do so at this moment. We were at a bowling alley with our kids. Because of this, they agreed to converse throughout the night. Around 10 p.m., she informs me that she is unable to sleep and that she wants to watch a show that she knows I despise, Revenge. I'm going to bed now. The two of them begin writing shortly after, but she tells him that emailing is more secure since I've accessed her Facebook page in the past. As an introduction, he states his feelings for her and expresses his disappointment at discovering she had abandoned her faith, which had been the one thing that had kept them apart in the past. She tells him that she would always love him and expresses regret that things did not turn out differently. She tells him that the last few years have been difficult for her, but that she has been putting in the effort lately, and that she is prepared to give it one more go this time. There is some back and forth concerning his bad marriage at this time. He then becomes a little and inquires as to whether she would be interested in meeting up if he ever came to Salt Lake City. He goes on to say that now that she had a drink, he would like to buy her another one. She claims she is unable to do so, since I'm already skeptical. Moreover, she expresses concern that the two of them drinking together could get a little out of hand. He tries to get further information from her by inquiring as to what kind of she is, which she denies. She finds him hilarious, and as she is buzzing in reaction, she reveals how idiotic she seems to be. He admits that he may have made a mistake and inquires as to whether he is being excessively flirtatious or making her feel uncomfortable by discussing adult problems with her. It is her argument that he is not being too flirtatious and that she does not feel uncomfortable discussing mature topics with him at this time. Then she goes on to say, "Have you truly forgotten about me?" before going to bed. However, she tells him that she has to speak with him one more time before she leaves for the night. She also mentions that she would be setting up a separate email account for her own personal use. After she instructs him to delete their communications from his phone, the man questions what they are up to. She says that she doesn't know and that he would have to keep an eye on things. She recognizes that she is aware of the fact that she misses him and expresses her regret for having done so. In the next conversation, he inquires as to whether or not she misses his playing with her boobs, which annoys her more than anything else, since he has been thinking about it a lot. "Aha, yeah, that's exactly what I expected," she continues. "Yes. Now, remove everything from your computer and go to your bed." The stupid does not have the power to erase his or her mistakes. When his wife arrives home, she is the one who takes the edge off of him and makes him cry. Messages my wife, accusing her of being a home-destroying and informing her that she has sent me text messages that have been received by me. The door opens, and my wife bursts through it, apologizing profusely for being so foolish and apologetic. When I hear her, I'm in the midst of reading all I've written. She can't seem to keep the tears from flowing freely. My own freakout has led me to believe that she is just distraught because she has been apprehended, and that is all she wants to speak about, and so on. I notify her that we are divorcing her and make every attempt to leave the home as quickly as possible. Despite my best efforts, she clings to my arm and will not let go of my hand without a struggle. It was clear to her that she was entirely absorbed in the talk and had no intention of completing it. One of the reasons she did what she did was because I had kept love from her for all of those years, which was one of the reasons she brought it up. Another reason she did what she did was because I had withdrawn affection from her. In her response, she conveyed her happiness at hearing his comments, as well as her wish for them to continue. In this conversation, the subject of how things have gone so well for her over the previous month, and how I have provided her with all she needs, comes up. Her excitement is tempered with apprehension about the long-term viability of the relationship. I notify her that I am seeking a divorce once again, and she eventually agrees to allow me to leave the country. At this moment, she's in complete and utter tears. I'm heading to my friend's house for the evening. She contacted me many times during the night, and I did not react to any of her messages or calls. With the overpowering sensation that I did not want to divorce my spouse, I returned the following morning. We spoke for a few minutes more, and I expressed my regret to her. Since then, there have been many ups and downs in the market. My impression is that he has now grasped what she is trying to convey after hearing her tell him multiple times that she doesn't want any part of him. But I can't seem to get rid of the "what if" sensation I'm feeling. What do you believe it would have taken for it to happen? What exactly does she have to offer in terms of offensive and defensive capabilities? Suppose they hadn't been captured in the first place. What would have happened to them? My thoughts on these topics, as well as the way they make me feel when I consider them, are driving me nuts. I suppose what I really want is a fresh set of eyes. Thank you very much for all of your assistance.